Shalom. First, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, from whom I learned this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 elect. I am Mayakala. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to call this, but just wanted to bring out a few verses. I felt the just spirit moving me just to go over what's required of us, especially at this time when it seems like the whole world is kind of pouring after these pagan holidays that they go after, what they call the holiday season. And sometimes we can get pulled into that, especially when people come around you and they keep saying that, repeating those things, Merry Xmas, and they want to say Happy New Year to you all the time for the next damn 2 months. And even though we know that the New Year doesn't actually start until 2 weeks right before the Passover, actually. But I just have a few verses that I wanted to bring out. Just that, just mentioning some of the make our effort to obey the commandments the best that we can, to the best of our ability. I wanted to start here in Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 12. And this is shortly after Moses had been given the tablets that had been, the 10 commandments had been written down on by the Lord. And I'm just going to read verse 12. It says, "And now Israel being a people before it's a place, because we know that Jacob had been surnamed Israel. So he's speaking to all Israel right now as they're in the wilderness, about to leave the wilderness, going into the land that had been promised to them. And it says, "And now Israel, what doth the Lord Yahweh thy power require of thee, but to fear the Lord Yahweh thy power, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord Yahweh thy power with all thy heart," which is your mind, "and with all thy soul." All right. And we know we keep these commandments to the best of our ability. I'm not going to go over commandments. They can be, 10 of those commandments can be found in Exodus chapter 20. I mean, we know there's more than 613 statutes and laws and commandments. But this is like the umbrella that's listed here in the Exodus 20 that all of those fall up under. And like I said, this time of the year is just easy to get caught up into this season where they keep repeatedly, you find people saying it to you, whether you go to a store or whether you're on the plantation, or whether you might even speak to somebody like family members who may not be in this truth. You just want to just keep yourself on track, and this be a constant reminder of what we know to be true, understanding that this is a time of year that we probably I'm sure we do, because I get sick of hearing people say it to me all the time. Another verse that I wanted to bring out, I wanted to go to the book of James. James being Yahweh Shai's brother. And I wanted to go to chapter 1. verse 27. And it says, pure religion and undefiled before the Most High and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. And I'll read it in the NLT. It says, pure and genuine religion is the sight of the Most High. The Father means caring for orphans and widows and in their distress, and refusing to let the world corrupt you. That's why I wanted to bring this verse out. You can't let this world corrupt you, because like I said, you're going to repeatedly hear people saying those things to you. Merry Xmas and Happy New Year. We just have to remind ourselves and keep and know that Yahushua was not born on no day, December 25th. He was born during the Passover, around that time. And we know, like I said, like I mentioned before, we know that at that time, that's when the new year begins, because that is the harvest. That's the first harvest, and that is the time when things begin to renew and grow outdoors. All right. And I just wanted to go into Mark chapter 12, and I'm just going to read a little bit of this. And a lot of this is in the red letter, so this is Yahushua speaking. But the part that I want to start at here is about verse 14. I'll start at 13 so you can understand what's going on. You can see the heading here. It says, Yahushua answers the Pharisees and Sadducees and scribes, because they were trying to just trip him up and ask questions to see if he would, if Yahushua was going to go off and or either not even be able to answer these questions. So they were trying to trip him up. I'll start at verse 13. It says, and they send unto him certain of the Pharisees and the Herodians to catch him in his words. And when they were come, they say unto him, Master, we know that thou art true and carest for no man, for thou regardest not the person of men, but teachest the way of the Most High in truth. Is it lawful to give tribute to Caesar or not? They say, shall we give or shall we not give? But he being Yahushua, says, knowing their hypocrisy, said unto them, why tempt ye me? It says, bring me a penny that I may see it. And they brought it, and he said unto them, whose is this image and subscription? Salakia says, whose is this image and superscription? And they said unto him, Caesar's. So he wanted to know. He was asking them who's on this picture, whose picture is on this penny. And Yahushua answered, said unto them, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to the Most High the things that are the Most High's. And they marveled at him. All right, they were just amazed at the way he had answered that question, and answered it in a complete manner. All right, not going off. Verse 18, it says, Then come unto him the Sadducees, which say there is no resurrection. And they asked him, saying, Master, Moses wrote unto us, if a man's brother die, and leave his wife behind him, and leave no children, that his brother should take his wife and raise up seed unto his brother. Now there were 7 brethren. And the first took a wife, and dying left no seed. And the second took her, and died, neither left he any seed. And the third likewise. And the 7 had her, and left no seed. Last of all, the woman died also. It says, in the resurrection, therefore, when they shall rise, whose wife shall she be of them? For the 7 had her to wife. And Yahushua answering said unto them, Do ye not therefore err, because ye know not the scriptures, neither the power of the Most High? For when they shall rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels which are in heaven. And as touching the dead, they rise. Have ye not read in the book of Moses how in the bush the Most High spoke unto him, saying, I am the Most High of Abraham, and the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob? He is not the power of the dead, but the power of the living. Ye therefore do greatly err. Verse 28 says, And one of the scribes came, and having heard them reasoning together, and perceiving that he had answered them well, asked him, which is the first commandment of all? And Yahushua answered him, The first of all commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thy heart, which is the mind, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is like, namely this, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these. And the scribe said unto him, Well, master, thou hast said the truth, for there is one power, and there is none other but he. And to love him with all thy heart, and with all thy understanding, with all thy soul, and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself, is more than all whole burnt offerings and sacrifices. And when Yahushua saw that he answered discreetly, he said unto him, Thou art not far from the kingdom of the Most High. And no man after that does ask him any questions. So despite the Sadducees and the Pharisees, despite their efforts to trip up Yahushua, Yahushua answered the way he should have answered. All right, and he amazed them by doing so. All right, and I don't know why they were so amazed. I mean, he had done so many things, and they weren't able to trip him up to this point. So I don't know what made them think that they could trip him up. All right, so Yahushua continued to stay in the spirit, because despite the fact the world trying to trip him up and trying to cause him to err. And that's why the reason I wanted to read that is because this world is constantly trying to trip us up, causing us to err, causing us to fall off track and forget this truth and give in to the ways of this world. But we have to stay in our scriptures daily, and we have to stay in this truth, because the world is wicked, and it's going to try to trip you up at every opportunity that it gets. But we have to stay in the spirit. All right, and I just have a couple more that I wanted to bring out, and that'll be the end of this. I wanted to go over to Romans. And chapter 13 and verse 10. It says, Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. All right, and like I said, we in our best ability do our best to try to keep these laws and keep these commandments. All right, but that's telling us that this is therefore this is what love is. Love is fulfilling the law, keeping these commandments to the best of our abilities. And I'll just back that up by going over to 2 John verse 6, because that's what it says there. It says, and this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment, that as ye have heard from the beginning, ye shall walk in. And that's what love is. That's keeping these commandments to the best of our ability. All right, and in the NLT it says love means doing what the Most High has commanded us. And he has commanded us to love one another, just as ye heard from the beginning. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and end this here, but with this last verse. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. And it says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. In the NLT it says that's the whole story. Here now is my final conclusion. Fear the Most High, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and obey his commandments, for this is everyone's duty. All right? And that by everyone he's meaning this nation of Israel. All right, but I'm gonna leave it there. Just didn't want to make this too long. But it's just want to pray that this has been edifying to the listener. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, HaKadosh. Shalom.